Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I'm excited to share with you how you can use Cami to support you in your video content when it comes to modern classrooms. So the first thing I do is I build out a Google slide. And I love to build out my game board with all of these different shape tools, and I can also hyperlink to where I want my students to go in the different activities. Once I have my game board ready, I then build out my video slide deck. So again, it's just another Google slide, and I usually start with what is the topic, what is our objective. After that, I go into some engagement. How can I hook my learners into this lesson? And then I build out kind of what are they going to be learning? What's that new skill? So for this new skill, students are going to read along with me. And once we read, we're going to compare the first and the second story and how these events are kind of different. So again, I'm going to model this for them so that way they are prepared when they do this all by themselves with a whole nother two stories. And then for the mastery check, students are going to test their knowledge on these activities as well. So again, as you can kind of see here, these are just shapes, text box. I'm able to copy and paste these over to different slides if I need to. I can rearrange them all on this slide deck. So again, that's kind of the first step is I just build out those slides. Once those slides are done, I click on this button, Cami. This is appearing because I have the Cami extension. The Cami extension can be added onto your Chrome browser. And again, once you have it, you're going to be able to click that Cami button. I'm going to go ahead and convert this file. And once it converts, it's going to open up in Cami. And what I love about having these activities in Cami is these little backgrounds will not be movable for my students. So especially when I'm working with all different types of learners, they're not able to move. Now they are able to click and it's going to take them to that activity that they need to work on in this activity. And so when I'm first creating my video, what I do is I come over and I go to the comments area. I click on comments, and when I'm ready to screen capture, I go to this icon over here. So again, comments, this screen capture icon, and it's going to place a dot where I want my instructions. And what I love about Cami is I can quickly process and create many micro-learning videos for my students to help them understand the skills, directions, and if I need to provide them feedback, I can also do this in Cami. So again, right here, I go to comments, I click on screen capture, and then I click. Once I click, I have to decide, do I want to share a Chrome tab? Do I want to do a window? Or do I want to do an entire screen? So again, I have to kind of make a choice on which option I would like to go with. So I'm going to go ahead and do my entire screen, and I'm going to hit share. Hi class, welcome today. You're going to watch the video. So here is that video as you're practicing these different activities on compare and contrast. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So with this, my students are going to watch that video, right? I hit play, I start recording, I welcome them to the lesson. And with the slides for the video, I also open those in Cami. Before I usually hit record, so again, we'll walk through those steps, comment, screen capture, I usually have this tab already opened, ready to go. It just saves some time for me and my students. And then when I'm ready, again, I hit that screen capture and I click and I'll do my entire screen and I will start recording that topic for my students. A little picture of me pops over here. I usually love to leave that up for a few moments, but then I might exit out. Depends on the lesson, depends on the topic. And then I explain what we're kind of learning for the day. I explain we're doing compare and contrast. So how would we compare dogs and cats? What I love about Cami is I have all of these tools over on the left side. And so I can come into graphic organizers, grab a Venn diagram, and I can quickly have my students brainstorm with me dogs and cats and what they have in common. And we're able to, again, have those conversations together live as we're going through this activity. As we're reading this story, I can read it aloud. I can also use the read aloud feature to support my students as well. There's also a dictionary tool, so I can pause and show my students how to use these tools so they can take ownership of their learning. I can also highlight and show my students how to maybe use a box highlighter so they can follow along piece by piece as they're reading this story. Students can also use the markup tool as we're comparing and contrasting. So one story, they might kind of use this blue color to highlight the differences, and then they might choose another color for another piece. And then down here where they're practicing, my students are able to use the text box to explain and demonstrate their knowledge alongside me, or I can come in and model how they can use a voice comment where we can actually click and record our voice, or my students can even videotape as well. So again, I'm able to model the tools that can support my students as they're working independently. And I'm also able to use annotation tools such as voice comments, video comments, the markup tool to highlight, the text box to type onto the screen. I can also insert multimedia such as graphic organizers, YouTube videos, or even Google image search images to support my students as we're going through this video lesson. Once I'm finished, all I have to do is I have to just go back and hit stop sharing. Once I hit stop sharing or done over here, it's going to quickly process my video, and that's it. I can come over and I can change this color of this dot. If I wanted to color code, hey, this is, our main lesson, but maybe I make practice and I do another video lesson. So comment, screen capture, I click my entire screen again, and now I give directions for this practice activity. Once I'm done, I can hit stop sharing, or again, I can click this done button in that Cami tab. So there's 2 videos for my students, and I can change the color. So again, this might be a skill video, this might be directions, and I can differentiate for my students to know the difference on where they can get support and help throughout the lesson. And what my students can also do is they can write comments back to me about the video that they're watching. Students can watch in full screen. They can also generate captions by clicking on this white box. And then once they hit play, it's going to type what I'm saying out loud. And once I'm all set, I'm ready to assign this to my students. So again, that video processes pretty quickly. And once I have all of my different resources and videos added on here, all I have to do is hit share, and I can create a Google Classroom assignment. You can also assign in Schoology, Canvas, and Microsoft Teams. And I can come over here and write compare and contrasting. And then I can make a copy for every single one of my students. And then I can choose my class of where I want this activity to go to. I can also turn on feature controls, which will turn off and on certain tools for my students and my learners. And as my students are working or watching that video, I could assign this to them to provide some engagement to see their highlighting as they're watching and pausing and learning right alongside me. And one way that I'm able to monitor that is with Cami's class view. So I'll go to my learning management system. I assign that one in Google Classroom. And what I'm able to do is go to that class, go to classwork, and find that activity. Once I find that activity, I can hit open in Cami, and I can see all of my students' screens at the same time to monitor and support their needs as they're watching that instructional video, working on their own practice activity to go right alongside the video as they are watching, learning me model. So go ahead and give it a try as you try Cami to create your interactive videos to help your students learn and master the content.